Hey guys, let me get my phone set up there. Welcome to the Sneak Peek into Coaching. I'm Courtney and I'm going to be your host this week. For those of you that don't know me, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself and just kind of welcoming you and let you know what to expect in these videos. This is self-paced, so you can work your way through the units. The videos are short, so you don't need to plan to spend a ton of time watching information, but it is very informative. I want you to really dig in, I want you to listen, and I want you to ask questions. No question is a bad question. The bad questions are the ones that you don't ask. So let me tell you a little bit about myself first. My name is Courtney. As I said before, I am a mom of 2 boys, and I am a wife of a college swim coach. I myself am a former college athlete. I was a swimmer for most of my life. I started swimming competitively at age 8, and I earned a college scholarship from my talents as a swimmer. Swimming was such a big part of my life. Being part of a team was such a big part of my life, and that sort of segues into how I ended up here. But when I finished swimming and I graduated from college, I got my degree in early childhood and I started my master's degree in intervention. I was teaching preschool and I loved teaching preschool, but I was really lost without fitness. If you know any former athletes or college athletes that go through this transition, it's really difficult. It's like a death of something almost. Like you have this piece of your life that plays such a big influence and it's gone. And that sort of went on for me for over 10 years in that transition from college and being a student athlete to working full time and trying to figure out that balance. I never really found a fitness routine that worked for me. I had done a couple half marathons, which is no small feat by any means. I'm not trying to say that's just like a super easy thing, because it's not. It takes commitment, but I would have these training cycles of every 3 to 4 months when I would be like 100% on point training for something, but I had a really hard time flipping the switch from what a lifestyle with fitness was and what was training for something, because my whole life swimming was training for something. I didn't know how to do fitness as a lifestyle, and that really was a big issue for me because I didn't know how to balance nutrition, and I didn't know how to really love fitness. I didn't know how to make that a lifestyle piece. So when we were living in Buffalo at the time, my husband's a college swim coach, so we've moved a couple times. He got hired at Virginia Tech, so we moved to Virginia, and I left a job that I absolutely loved. I had transitioned from working with preschool children to using more of my master's degree as an intervention specialist working with college athletes, and I loved that job. I loved that role. I was fulfilled, my purpose, my passion in helping people every single day. I felt like I was leaving my mark. I was making an impact in those athletes' lives. And when we moved to Virginia, I accepted a job very quickly that I sort of knew I shouldn't have accepted, but the fear of not having a job was held over me, and I already was taking a $20,000 pay cut, and I was the one earning more income. So it was stressful. So I took a job I knew I'd be bored in. The dean of students at that university told me, we hired you because your skill set, we know this is an entry-level job. We know you're overqualified for this. We want to get you in the door, and we'll move you somewhere else as something else opens. And I felt comforted in that, knowing that, okay, they recognized that I was being very underpaid. I was making less than a first-year teacher with 10 years of experience with a master's degree, and I was bored. Regardless of what I was earning, you don't go into teaching to earn a ton of income, but I was bored. I had 200 students on my caseload. I was working with high-risk students at the university, and on any given week, I maybe saw 15, and it wasn't my lack of effort to try to get them in the door. When given the choice to utilize these services, they just didn't, because it was optional. They didn't have to. And I had been working with athletes where if they didn't want to see me, I would call their coach, right? So there was a different level of accountability. There was a different level of relationship. So that was difficult for me to sit at a desk all day and recognize that a lot of America literally goes to work every day to just get a paycheck. And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't go into teaching just to get a paycheck. Well, be it not very big, I literally was bored out of my mind. I had reached the end of the internet. I could do nothing else all day. I didn't realize what boredom looked like, but it looks angry, it looks sad, it looks frustrated, and that was me. I was turning into the person I never wanted to be, and I was a little bitter towards my husband because we moved from a place where I was so happy. I mean, we were happy, but this was, his job opportunity was huge for him, and I knew that, and I wanted that for him, but at the same time, I was mourning a little bit the fact that I took a huge step backwards. I soon then after that got pregnant, and like all the thoughts of wanting to be home with my baby started to swirl, but I just knew financially we couldn't afford for me to not have an income coming in. 2 teaching salaries in the South was never going to cut it. So I had my son and I went back to work, and it was about this time that I started seeing some friends who I swam with back in my age group days. So it had been like 15 years since I'd probably seen any of them, started coaching, and they were sharing their fitness journeys, and they were inviting me to, wellness challenges, and the dog is totally drinking water out of the toilet right now. Hey, Willis! No, sorry. Real life over here. And I wondered what the heck they were doing, and I watched for over a year because I was like, I don't want to do home fitness. I'm not a shake person. I definitely don't want to sell anything to anybody. So I was cheering them on from afar, but I mean, I wanted no part of it. But it wasn't until I sort of really hit a breaking point where I was really just so unhappy in my job, and I just was not fulfilled. And I saw them, they were in a growth environment. I saw how happy they were and how fulfilled they were. And I was jealous, and I just thought to myself, if I never ask, I'll never know. If I never try, I'll never know. Like, I need fitness in my life. I need to start taking care of myself. I'm 1 year postpartum at this point. I have not been to a gym and not been taking care of myself regularly. I'm literally waking up tired, going to bed tired. I'm just like living for bedtime. And at the time I was spending 1 hour a day with my son. So I was rushing through the 1 hour a day I had with him so I could go plop on the sofa and watch like reality TV. But I was lacking purpose, and I needed to first start with myself. And that's what's so beautiful about this business, is that this journey starts with you. You work on you first, and that's where you build your business from, because you have to pour into you always. You'll always hear us say like your oxygen mask on first before you can assist and help others. It's the same as you hear on an airplane, right? Like you have to take care of yourself. And being a coach, your accountability and your role for taking care of yourself is sort of amplified, because if you're going to be the model or be the person that's going to be helping other people, and I don't mean this, when I said model, I don't mean like perfect six-pack abs. I just mean you're doing the things, and I'm going to talk about that this week, but doing the things that, promise to take care of yourself, put your oxygen mask on, and then pay that forward to other people. And I just asked, I said, at the time they were at their annual convention, and it happened to be in Vegas, and I just saw them having fun. I saw them connected. I saw them growing and learning together. I saw them challenged, and I was like, I have to reach out, because here I am scrolling Facebook at lunch again with nothing to do and so bored. And I need this for me. And so I reached out and I said, I don't know what it is you guys are doing. I had never done a Beachbody program. I had never had a sip of Shakeology. I knew nothing about network marketing, except that I assumed it was a pyramid scheme, which it's not. We'll talk about that later too. But I just I need to know more. So I messaged them, and we got on a call the next week. And I started very soon after that, because I needed this for me. And what this business has done for me and my family is incredible. It has made me a more hands-on mom. It has made me appreciate every second of the day I have with my kids. It's allowed me to make sure that, I'm fueling my body the way that it needs to be fueled so I can chase them and keep up with them. It's helped me to make sure that I'm feeding my family in an appropriate way. And it's also allowed us to make lots of decisions financially for our future that without this we never would have been able to do. We were barely getting by. We had no money in savings, and every month it was really literally down to the last dollar. And it wasn't because we were spending money irresponsibly. It's just what 2 teaching salaries in the South with daycare, car payments, insurance looks like. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. I wanted wiggle room. I wanted breathing room, and I wanted to be able to eventually, if I desired, have the choice to be able to be home with my kids. So anyway, guys, there's an introduction. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Please listen. Please ask all the questions, and can't wait to chat.